Welcome back to Horn Takes, your Texas football and baseball talk destination. I am Sean Redfern. We are live on a Tuesday night on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. We are going to hit up the after-action review of that semifinal, that college football semifinal loss to Ohio State. We'll do a little bit of film analysis, a little check tapes. I just can't help saying film analysis because everybody else says film analysis. I know I'm not doing film analysis. I do have the Skycast version of the video though, so that's pretty cool. We get to see a lot of cool stuff. And then we'll talk a little Texas Longhorn personnel news. Lots of stuff happening over the course of the last couple of days with the Longhorns in terms of personnel. You can check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. For those of you that listen to the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify podcast, iHeart podcast. You go to the Buzzsprout page. All that stuff is going away after this episode. So I'm going to post the audio of this episode up on the podcast pages. That will be it. I'll give it another week or so, and then I'm getting rid of it. So if you just got to listen to them, download them, and get ready to listen to them, folks. After action review. We usually start this out with stats, but I'm not going to do any stats. You guys have looked at the stats. Everybody's talked about the stats. What I will do today, players that popped, and this is something I do every single time. These are guys that popped off the film at me, popped off the screen at me while I was watching the game. Sometimes they're the guys that everybody would guess is the guys that popped. Sometimes it's not. I think we have one of those today. Jaden Blue, I think, has got to be your number one guy. 5 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 totes for 16 yards. In my opinion, 9 touches is not enough for a guy like Jaden Blue. I think he was a little underutilized in this game, but I get it. The stable is full for Sarkisian and that Texas Longhorn offense. Can't get the ball to everybody, but he sure did have some pretty big plays in this game. And he's probably the only back on the roster that legitimately has absolute breakneck breakaway speed. Like he gets past you, you're not catching him at all. I think that's a guy you got to find a way to keep getting him the ball. But it is what it is. Jaden Blue pops in his final game as a Texas Longhorn. The entire back end of the defense, I thought, did an outstanding job. Leading into this game, all we heard about was how explosive and how great these Ohio State wide receivers were, and I think they're pretty good. I do. They're. I mean, we were hearing back in August about Ohio State. They got the best wide receiver core in the country. A lot of arguments amongst Ohio State fans and Texas fans about who has the best wide receiver core in the country. They got a really good one. And Jeremiah Smith absolutely torched the Oregon Ducks in the quarterfinals in the Rose Bowl. So obviously a big focus for this back end. This back end had 19 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and Jeremiah Smith had 1 catch for 3 yards the entire game. Contrary to some of the guys on the internet, I won't name any names because I'm not that guy, but a lot of talk about the triple teams and the double teams that Jeremiah Smith got. Just come on, guys, y'all got to be better than that. You know, there's a guy right next to Jeremiah Smith in that shot. Back the camera up, expand it out, show the people the truth. Not to say that Jeremiah Smith did not command some roll coverage, because I certainly saw multiple times safeties moving out of the middle of the field, coming from being down low towards the line of scrimmage to really bailing out at the snap to get that 2-deep look over the top of Jeremiah Smith. Can't do no better than 1 catch for 3 yards with a guy like that. And then you look at the rest of the guys, they did all right. I can't remember the third guy's name. He's one of the guys we talked about leading up to the game when we did our deep dive on this Ohio State team. Is it Carnell? Is his last name, I believe? Carnell, something like that. He had a pretty big game. But really that one big play from the running back and the rest of the passing offense was pretty well contained, I felt like, by this Texas secondary. So kudos to those guys. Those stats were for the starters. A lot of guys played. They all played well. Michael Kern, the punter. Yes, that's right, folks. 6 punts, 263 yards. I had to throw him in there because, honestly, this is one of the first games in a long time where Texas kind of consistently moved the ball. We only had 1 3 and out in this game. So Texas moved the ball, and then when they did get themselves stuck, they have to punt the ball. Kern did a really great job. 43.8 yards per punt, 3 inside the 20, a long of 50, 51, something like that. And the punting's kind of been something that hasn't been great this season in spurts. So good to see the punter do a good job in a big game. There was a lot of guys that popped, just to be honest. There was plays where I was watching, I go, man, that was a really good play. So it's tough to pick, obviously, 3 guys. Cheated a little bit and went with the entire secondary because I thought they did a great job. Kind of a bonus here. Good to see guys like Colton Vosick and Alex January getting some really meaningful reps in the second quarter of a college football playoff game. That I did not expect that. That was not on my bingo sheet or bingo page or bingo list or whatever the hell that saying is. That was not on it to see those 2 guys playing snaps in the second quarter of the college football playoff semifinal game. I don't know where that came from. I know Colton's been hurt a lot in his career at Texas. He was hurt earlier this season. He was out for a few games. Alex January's been a guy that's played. I don't know how much. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to throw a number out there. But he's played quite a bit, I think, especially for a true freshman. And I thought those guys looked all right. So I think that's good news headed forward for this Texas Longhorn defense. Let's check a little tape. Quinn has been the talk since, basically all season, but really headed into this game and after this game, Quinn's been the talk. You either love him or you hate him, apparently. There's no in between. If you do like him a little bit, you love him. If you have anything negative to say about him, you're a hater. The sad part is there's like this fringe out there, and you guys know who I'm talking about, that for whatever reason they just hate Quinn, and you can't be rational with them about him. They're never going to point out he does anything well. And I think, honestly, those people are either just really stupid or they just like to troll. And so they're not even worth like talking to, guys. It's my nickel's worth of advice to you guys on a Tuesday night. This play number 1, we're going to start off with a little rough stuff for Quinn, and then we'll get to the good. And listen, we just point out what happens. I'm not trying to bash on Quinn. I thought Quinn had a really good game. In fact, on my Drunk Sean Thoughts, I said, I think this may be the ballsiest game Quinn Ewers has ever played because he had a lot of pressure, and he handled this pressure pretty well in this game. So let's check it out. Let's look at it. Play number 1 here. It's 3rd and 11. We're going to have pretty good initial protection, excuse me. The problem with this play is Quinn panicked a little too soon. He was looking right at Bond when he shows him his numbers, and instead of pulling the trigger, he tries to escape, and he gets sacked. Watch it. I'll show it. We'll pause it. Bond's off to the left out there. All right, he's looking right at him. There's Bond showing him his numbers. All he's got to do, zing that thing out there. That'd be a nice little completion. Probably not going to pick up a first down, but at least you don't do that and get sacked. So the pressure on Quinn most of the night was pretty heavy, especially off the right side, our right side. Just an enormous amount of pressure from that side. And sometimes he handled it really well. Sometimes he didn't handle it so well. Here's a 4th and 3. We're going to get quick pressure off the edge. This is the very first drive of the game. He's going to dump it in underneath, incomplete. Watch Wingo on the corner. This is where I think he should have gone with the ball. I think it's open. I just think he wasn't looking downfield. Watch 5. Watch that corner on the hash or safety on the hash. He kind of freezes a little bit. There's room out there for the ball to be. And the way I look at it, that's 4th down. If I throw an interception, that's better than turning the ball over right where we turn the ball over. They're probably not running it back for a touchdown. I would have liked to seen Quinn early in the game push that one down the field, try to make a big play on 4th and 3. It's not what happened. Here we go. We got 1st and 10. We're going to see a little play action. He's going to have plenty of time, and we're going to see him just sail one to Helm. And it should have been caught. I think Helm would tell you that, but it was not a great pass. Little high, gets nailed underneath the ribs there, drops the ball. Those are tough for me because it wasn't a great throw. It was close enough. He got both hands on it, but he kind of put him in a position where he got hit. And most people get hit up under the ribs like that, they're dropping that ball. Here we go, 3rd and 6. Wingo and Helm going to run a little switch there on the left side. Wingo has his man beat, but listen, folks, and this is the play that Steve Sarkisian lost his freaking mind about no pass interference or no holding. He did get held. He did get pass interfered with, but you know what? You got to throw a competitive ball. Look how uncompetitive this pass is. It's going to be way behind him. It's just not even close. It's 4 to 5 yards behind him. He never had a chance to catch that ball. If it would have been against air, he wouldn't have had a chance to catch that ball. One of my knocks on Quinn is sometimes his misses are just so off that you can't even get calls. Like they're like especially down the field sometimes you, he's not even close enough to for the guys to go compete for the ball or to draw penalties. And that was one of those cases. Again, I'm not down on Quinn. It's a hard game. He was covered up pretty good. He was definitely pulling the jersey, definitely holding. It is what it is. Here we go. We got a 2nd and 5. We're going to see Quinn with plenty of time here. Got the field spread out 5 wide. Watch him step up really nicely in this pocket, navigate the pressure really well. He tries to hit more on the post, and he just overthrows it a little bit. Nice step up. He's got room. Listen, that would have had to have been a really nice throw to get it in between those two guys, but he could have done it. He's just a little long on it. I don't necessarily mind the overthrow there. I'd rather him overthrow it than throw it short and throw an interception. But just those are the types of plays down the field that you got to be able to make a little more consistently. Here we go. We're going to have a 3rd and 11. Watch Quinn shuffle away from the pressure here. One of the things, before I run this, one of the things we talked about after the first Georgia game, and honestly, I think his lack of mobility in that first Georgia game had a lot to do with injury. I think he was already hurt. He did not look like himself in the Oklahoma game. I don't think he was 100% for the Georgia game. And then he gets nailed on that corner blitz, and I think that hurt him bad. And so I think he just turned into a sort of a statue in the pocket, and he just didn't move around a lot. And you could see immediately the next week that the coaching staff had made a concerted effort with Quinn Ewers. We got to get you moving. You got to step up in the pocket and avoid. You can't keep going backwards and giving those defensive ends angles. And he's gotten a little bit better at it, a little bit better. I thought he did a really good job of navigating the pocket in this game. So he's going to shuffle away from the pressure. There's not going to be anything down the field. He's going to find his check down. Moves off to the right, finds his check down, picks up a few yards. Not going to be a first down, but a positive play on 3rd down. 1st and 10 here. It's play action. There's going to be quick pressure. Again, he's going to do a pretty good job navigating around all that quick pressure. He's going to get the ball out to Blue in the flat. The only thing I would say here, and I'll pause it when I say get rid of the ball. Now, there's nobody out there. You see that cornerback bailing down the hash. He's running away from Blue. If he dumps that ball off to Blue right now with a head of steam, Blue's going to pick up quite a bit of yards. It's going to be him and that cornerback in the open field. I'm going to pick Blue in any man-to-man situation like that almost every single time. I think this could have been a big play if he just gets rid of it now. Instead, he steps up a little bit, looks down the field, then he gets rid of it. Blue's kind of sitting there, and guys have had time to react to him being out there. Again, not a huge deal. It was a positive play, but those are just little things that you see every single game. And it's not just Quinn Ewers. You see this out of a lot of quarterbacks. So don't hear me bashing on Quinn. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm talking about Quinn today, so we're going to talk about that. Just little things like that are kind of the difference between big plays and plays like we just saw. 3rd and 2, I love this throw, and I love this formation, and I wish we would do this more. I think Quinn is more at home. He's good out of the shotgun, folks, but if you can get that guy in some play action and roll in the pocket, he throws some really nice balls on the run. And this one is outstanding. 3rd and 2, we're going to get the little boot action off the play action. Rolls out. He throws that ball before he has even cleared that defensive back. Really, really nice anticipation. Really accurate on the run. And again, I think this is something that would have helped our running game a lot this season and help Quinn get him out to the perimeter, get him on the run. He throws good passes on the run. 1st and 10 coming up here. He's going to recognize the blitz. He's going to know he's got man coverage underneath. Nice pass as well. 6 reads that the whole way, but he throws it just out of the reach of that defender. Only body that's catching that is Helm. Really nice ball. Nice anticipation on the route. I think the duality of Quinn is what has so many people upset about Quinn. I'm not comparing him to Sam Ehlinger because I think they're definitely two completely different quarterbacks. But there would be games, and even inside of the same game, where Sam Ehlinger. I mean, I think there's some of these throws Sam Ehlinger could have dropped a freaking football inside of a thimble 50 yards down the field some days, and then he just completely miss. Like we just saw him miss on Wingo a minute ago, just completely miss on a different type of throw. And I think that's a lot of the frustration some of the fan base has with Quinn Ewers. 1st and 10 coming up here. Another play action. He's going to step up underneath the pressure, deliver a really nice pass to Helm. This is a nice pass. He makes it look really easy. This ain't that easy of a throw. He puts it right over the shoulder, right in stride for Helm. Helm gets the penalty for pointing. Man, I hate that penalty. I hate that Helm did that, but I also hate the penalty. I don't know, man. We let these guys dance in the end zone when they score touchdowns and stuff. We can't point down the field. I get it, man. I mean the old school Sean is like, dude, you cannot do that. Texas Longhorn Sean is like, why the hell did you throw a penalty on that? I don't get it. Here we go with another 1st and 10. And I apologize for the blacked out stuff there. Play action. This is the corner route that I thought he should have hit earlier. Now, this is a different route combo, different people, but it's almost the same exact throw that he would have had to make on that 4th and 3 earlier in the game. Watch this ball. Pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good to get it out there. It's a pretty long throw across the field. I mean, the only thing he could have done better there, in my opinion, put a little more zip on it and hit him in stride where he can go go score. But a nice ball late in the game. Here we go on 3rd and 10. He's going to get immediate pressure off the right side. He steps up, starts looking for a place to escape. And watch what Quinn does as he's being dragged down. Just a little no look to Wisner. That's a big play, folks. Real big play. Just getting out of that mess he got out of and then having the wherewithal to see Wisner pitch it out there. Really good play by Quinn. Here we go, 2nd and 10 in the red zone. You're going to see some man-free coverage to the boundary. Quinn's going to see it. He's going to drop one in real nice. Look, there's that free safety out there. You see the cornerback come up in man coverage on Wingo, I believe that is. And then you see that linebacker that's pretty much lined up right with Jaden Blue. He's in man coverage. It doesn't work for him. Nice pass. This is a tough throw, too, and he puts it right on the money. Good shot by Quinn right there for the first touchdown and to tie this game up for Texas. 3rd and 7. It looks like man free again to the boundary. That linebacker's going to blitz. They're going to drop a defensive lineman out, which is a really bad idea. This is the one that, as I saw the guys lining up, my wife's videoing me, and I'm going to match this up with the actual play. But she took a video of me going, Yep, Blue's going to run the wheel right out here. Quinn's going to hit him over the top for a touchdown, just based off of where everybody's lined up. Good call by me, man. I love it. I need to prognosticate more. There's the defender coming out, that defensive lineman. He doesn't have a chance. Defensive back doesn't have a chance. Nice throw, nice read by Quinn. So there's Quinn. I mean, we could have put more clips in there of Quinn, but I think solid effort, really good effort, and again, ballsy, man. He had to deal with pressure almost every single play, and that's stuff that NFL quarterbacks have to do. Very, very seldom do NFL quarterbacks just get a clean pocket, and very seldom does it happen very often in a drive. Like, I mean, those guys are constantly dialing up pressure on quarterbacks in the NFL. We talk all the time about scheme, execution, how those things are really important. Here are some times as I was watching this replay that I noticed some scheme stuff and or some execution things just weren't right. Things just don't look right. And I don't know what's going on. Play number 1 here, 2nd and 10. We're going to fake a quick pitch. Ohio State's going to kind of run a little loop stunt away from our slide protection. I don't know why we're in slide protection on this play. Usually you slide protection when you don't know where people are coming from. There's 4 guys on the line of scrimmage. The linebackers are playing really deep. I don't know why we're sliding at all. Anyhow, Ohio State's going to wind up with 3 guys on 2. So there's 2 breakdowns on this play. Let me roll that and I'll stop it. Here comes the big loop. There's 3 on 2 right there. Hayden Connor's blocking absolutely nobody. Quinn recognizes it, gets rid of the ball, and check out what he throws to. 2 guys standing in the same exact spot. Look at all that field out there past the 50. Somebody screwed up on a route. Someone didn't hear something right. I don't know who. Something was definitely not right on that play, from the blocking assignments all the way to where I'm supposed to go when the ball is snapped. 3rd and 4 here. Ohio State going to give Texas this weird look where Sawyer is way outside, like just ridiculously outside. You got an inside shade tackle over our tackle to the strong side, right over Williams right there. They're going to run like a little trap play, and this defense could not have been set up any better for this trap play to go for big yardage. But somehow it didn't happen. You just watch Helm. He's going to influence Sawyer just a little bit, and he's going to get up to that DB. The right side of the offensive line could have just washed all of this down. But instead, they try to perform some weird combo reach block where Williams is literally actually trying to get his head across that 4 technique. And it looks like Campbell's responsible for the linebacker sitting right in front of him. I don't understand. Hayden Connor's going to pull, and he's going to needlessly like dance around Sawyer, who's so wide. He's completely out of the play at this point. They always taught us, if you don't get a crashing in, you turn upfield and go find somebody else to block. And I'm sure these guys are taught that. I hope these guys are taught that. Williams is going to be out of the position on the reach block. His man's going to be right there, right where Wisner's trying to go. Nobody's going to block number 0. And this play is going to get blown the hell up. I'll pause it when you see this weird. I want to show you guys what Williams and Campbell are doing. It's odd. Play side is to the right. So you would think, I want to get this guy in front of me washed down. I'm not trying to cut him off from getting to the backside of the play. But watch what he does. You see that? He's combo blocking instead of just driving that guy down or just sealing him off. If he just turns his ass to the right, he's sealed off. He cannot make a play. And if Connor pulls up through that hole like he should have and gets to 0, you're going to see Helm get up to the safety or nickelback, whatever he is up there. And then you got one deep safety that Trey Wisner would have to beat. So this would be a very big play. Could be a touchdown. Watch it as it plays out. Nobody blocks zero. Williams is on the wrong side of the defensive tackle. Wisner gets freaking blown up. I have no idea what they were trying to do there. That does not even make sense what those guys did on the right side of the line of scrimmage. I don't know if that's some weird blocking scheme meant to influence people. I don't know if the play was miscommunicated. I don't know if there was a line call that got miscommunicated. I don't know. But that play was really odd to me as a former offensive lineman. Like, it didn't make sense what they're doing. This one makes absolutely no sense. This one is crazy. Okay, so we got a lot of bodies up on the line of scrimmage on 4th and 10. You got basically you got 8 in the box. You got what looks like an old school like 4-4 defense. Texas and 21 personnel. Watch what Campbell and Connor do. So watch your right guard, watch your left guard. They're both going to hop straight up like they're pass blocking almost, and then they're going to pull to the right. And I'll pause it and let y'all see that. Make sure y'all are watching Campbell and Connor. There's your jab step, and there they go. All right. Majors and Williams touch the defensive tackles in front of them, and then they move on to the second level. Elm just runs straight up the field, doesn't block anybody at the line of scrimmage. Kelvin Banks and Juan Davis run some kind of X block, switch block, whatever you want to call it. Basically, Banks blocks out, kicks out, and Davis comes underneath him. I can only assume to go hit that defensive tackle. The problem is you had 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, and one of them came on a blitz. So Davis kind of gets distracted by this blitzing safety right there when he's trying to make his block. The play side defensive tackle hardly gets touched. Wisner's got nowhere to go, gets tackled for a loss. Just a nut roll of a play. Why are we like running misdirection, trickeration run plays? We supposedly have the best offensive lineman in the country. One of the best offensive lines in the country. 4 of these guys have been playing as starters for 2 years, 3 of them for 3 years. The one that just started this year is a freaking first round draft pick, according to all the mock drafts. What are we doing? Who thought that would work? To me, and y'all have heard me say this, we're overcomplicating stuff. We're taking like a simple thing in running the football and overcomplicating it. And that play got blown up. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, maybe if you guys have, let me know. 3rd and 11 here. You're going to get a pressure look on the right side. Look at all the bodies up there on the line of scrimmage on the right side. Majors is talking. You see him. He's leaning over right now. He's talking. I think he's probably saying, hey, we're sliding to the right. This will send the back to the left, which he's offset to the right, so that's a kind of tough deal for him. Campbell just absolutely doesn't slide to the right. And what you're going to wind up with is 7 Texas players blocking 5 Ohio State defenders. And somehow, Ohio State's going to get a free rusher, and Quinn has almost 0 time to look down the field, and he has to take a sack. Watch this. Watch the slide. Watch Campbell. He doesn't do it. He's late. Little strip sack. 7 guys for Texas blocking 5 for Ohio State. And he didn't even have enough time to even attempt to look down the field. So really poor execution on the slide coverage, slide protection. The other thing I got to ask, do we not have hot routes in this offense? Like I mean, you see it all the time in some offenses when defenders are up on the line of scrimmage like that, you'll see the wide receivers pointing to that defender as if to say, "Hey, this guy's coming. I'm going to do something different." Do we have that? I don't know. I'm asking. In fairness to the route combination, if Quinn Ewers maybe has 2.5, 3 seconds to look down the field, Wingo's going to be open on the deep out for a really nice gain. 1st and 15 here. If this was RPO, and a lot of people say we run a lot of RPO. I don't know, man. I don't feel like we're really in a true RPO situation. I think we run a lot of stuff that people think is RPO that's really just play action. But I'm willing to be wrong. If this was RPO, this was absolutely the wrong read by Quinn. This is one of the few times that the Texas offensive line actually executed up front. Quinn pulls the ball, throws an incomplete pass. Watch this. I mean, Wisner's going to run for days. Instead, we pull the ball, throw it out. It gets tipped by number 7 for an incomplete pass. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Was that RPO or was that just a play action pass? I don't know. I know we don't get that look a lot offensively from the offensive linemen in the run game for sure. Here we go, 1st and goal at the end of the game. This play, the more I have found out about this play, the more crazy this play makes me. Originally, when I saw this, I thought, okay, number 9's Lole. Number 98's just some offensive lineman wearing stuff. Well, then I realized wearing a different number, rather. Then I realized, no, these both got to be offensive linemen because you don't see defensive linemen double knee braced up very often, if at all. So I know these are both offensive linemen. So I start to think, like, who could it be? Maybe it's Malik Ogbo, who's played a lot of big man tight end stuff. Maybe it's Neto Umeozulu, who's done the same thing down on the goal line. Maybe it's Gooseby. Maybe it's a combination of those three. So I'm like, okay, I get that. And I watched the play a few times and I'm like, oh, here's what we missed. And then it dawns on me, well, let me find out. Let me find out who that was. So I go on Horns 24/7 and I go, hey, does anybody know who that was? Number 99 is freshman Nate Kibble. Number 98 is redshirt freshman Jaden Chapman. And as far as I know, and I'm probably wrong, I'm sure earlier in the season, in some of those blowout games, I'm sure these guys might have played some. I don't recall them playing any. Let's just say they haven't played in a while, because I think that's probably true. And you put these guys in on 1st and goal from the 1 yard line. I love bringing the beef in. Love it. I wish he wouldn't have taken the beef out. I just think he put the wrong beef in. Why are we not bringing in Ogbo? Why are we not bringing in Umi Uzalu? Why is Trevor Gooseby not one of these guys? And I again, hear me, folks. I'm not fussing. I can't believe that's what we did. The other thing is if you're gonna go big, I think I don't think you leave the key block up to your tight end. I just really watch as they shift. They're gonna shift down. Helm's gonna go up to the line of scrimmage. Right now, Helm's got to put his shoulder into number 44 or 49. I think it's 44, the other really good defensive end for Ohio State. He's got to put his shoulder right into that dude's hip and get him the hell out of there. Instead, he kind of just stands up, puts his arm out to, like, put some pressure on him, right? Keep him down there inside. And then he's looking to the second level. We're on the 1 yard line. Why are we looking to the second level? All that should have happened on this play, if you want to run the ball to the left, Banks and Connor should have drove that dude right the hell out of there that's in between them. And whoever this guy is, Kibble and Helm should have drove this guy. And then you got your lead block to kick out that guy on the end of the line of scrimmage, and you can fall in the end zone. We're not trying to bust a 50-yard touchdown. We're trying to get 1 yard. But watch what Watch the effort we get out of Helm here. And again, that's not going to work on the goal line. You see Banks right there? Banks is low. His shoulder is in that guy's hip, and they're going to push that guy out of there a little bit. It's really here this defensive tackle on the right side because Hayden Connor and Majors didn't get a lot of push that kind of falls into the hole, messes up the whole thing. But Banks right there, that's why he's the number 1 draft pick. That's how you get somebody the hell out of the way on a double team. You got Chapman coming out to kick that guy out, and I think he actually, man, for a big man, I think he does a really good job to get out there and get a hat on this guy. There's just too much piled up right now, though, because we didn't get that in man on the line of scrimmage, drove down and drove back. Gibson's going to have to kind of abandon his lead blocker, and he's just going to try to head into the mass of humanity and get what he can get. I think he probably has a better chance here if he just tries to get up the field and takes on number 8, who's going to step up here in just a second. Right there, he probably doesn't score, but he definitely has a better chance of scoring if he just tries to run over number 8 than trying to get in the middle where all those big men are. Play clearly designed. It looks like Chapman got him a really nice pancake block, so good on him. I would have loved to have seen Malik Ogbo playing that tight end for Helm, and people are going to say, well, then they know you're running. I don't give a shit if they know I'm running. I don't think you run combo blocks on the goal line. I just don't. And don't. I'm going to say something, and some of you are going to go, well, that's the same thing. No, it's not. You got to double team people. You got to push people into the end zone. The second level does not matter at all on the goal line. You don't have to block a single person off the line of scrimmage to get in the end zone from the 1 yard line. You just have to move people back. Double team, not the same as a combo block. So I love the big bodies there, and I love like being aggressive there. I just think maybe get Helm out of there, bring Malik Ogbo in, get some guys that know how to move some people out of the way. If you do that, or if Helm just gets in there and gets himself low and pushes, that's the key block right there. If you're going to run the ball outside, right, like that tight end getting that guy out of there, key block, and they missed it. Just did not happen. Second and goal from the 1. All the bigs are out. We're in 21 personnel. Can't see everybody here, but there's twins to the left. Davis goes in motion, brings the safety across with him. Now you got 6 defenders on 5 guys blocking, and this should have been full stop. Someone should have said, nope, 6 on 5. Or Twins should have sent Juan Davis back. Either way, they're outnumbered. It would have simply been 5-4 instead of 6-5. But maybe that opens up a little more space if you get everything blocked right. We're going to pitch it deep out of the shotgun from the 1 yard line. You're going to see Connor actually have a really good reach block. He's going to get his head outside that defensive tackle. Banks is going to pull. Davis is going to attempt to block down on the defensive end. Again, this is kind of the key block. Didn't get it done. You're going to see Wingo kind of in a situation, and let me roll it just a little bit so we can get this started. There's Connor getting across. There's Banks pulling. Davis is coming down, but he's not coming down very aggressively, and that defensive end's got his hands fully extended. This is fucked from the beginning. This not happening. Then you're going to see Wingo there. He's kind of trying to decide who the hell should I block. What he should have done is block that guy right in front of him, coming from inside out. And actually, it's not the guy right in front of him. It's this guy coming from the end zone inside out. He should have blocked back on him. And then Banks can get up around and and get that other man. But instead, he goes up the field into the end zone trying to block, and Banks has got to catch this guy that's running full blast in pursuit from inside out, and that's just not going to happen. That's a 200-pound safety that probably runs a 4.5 40. Big Kelvin Banks is a lot of things, but he ain't going to get that guy. Not from that angle. Caleb Downs, not even accounted for. He strings this thing out horizontally until the cavalry shows up. Watch it. Banks ain't getting that block. No way. He did good enough just to get his hands on him. And they just strung it out and allowed that cornerback to come up from the end zone and make the tackle. I do not care. I saw a whole so there was tons of debate about this. And I saw a whole bunch of people posting Bill Belichick in the playoffs running a pitch on the goal line. I don't care. Bad ideas are still bad ideas even when they work. That's called probability. Sometimes bad ideas work. Sometimes great ideas don't work. Does that make them not a great idea? No, it just didn't get executed right. This was a bad idea from the start. It became worse when nobody recognized that they were outnumbered. And it became even worse when the edge didn't get set because we're asking Juan Davis to block a really outstanding defensive end. And we're asking Ryan Wingo to choose between two guys that are out there. And he kind of just got caught in no man's land. And by the time he made a decision, it was too late. That's my thoughts on that play. Some of you will disagree, and that's fine. 4th and goal from the 8. We got 5 blocking 4. We got 5 Texas offensive linemen. We got 5 guys kind of in the box. They're showing a little pressure look there, Ohio State is. But ultimately, we've got 5 guys blocking 4. And Sawyer just absolutely destroys our offensive line on this play. Quinn doesn't have a chance. Right around him. And there she goes. That's all she wrote. Here on defense is 4th and 2. Watch this. Execution and being prepared is not just an offensive thing. You got to do it on defense as well. Look at all this confusion. They're all talking. Everybody's jumping around. No, like Mo Black's putting his freaking helmet on. That couldn't have been any easier. How did we get in that personnel package on 4th and 2 defensively? I mean, maybe those were the guys that were out there the play before, and we just didn't get a chance to change. I don't know. If it's me, I'm probably calling timeout because you know what didn't happen that whole game up until that point. Will Howard didn't run a lot of keeper type stuff, a lot of designed runs. You had to know that was coming. They should have been big. Instead, they were small. They were built for speed, and they got powered. Big play in the game. Ohio State executes that little quarterback trap perfectly. Should have been a touchdown. Thankfully, Will Howard tripped all over himself. Again, if it's me, if I am stuck in a personnel thing, I'm calling timeout, and we're going to get the right guys out there. I'm going big bodies. I'm stacking up the line of scrimmage, and if you beat me over the top, oh well. I'm not going to let that happen on 4th and 2. 1st and 10. We got 4 down linemen for Texas. Pressure look from Hill. Hill's going to bail. Simmons going to bail. We're going to fire Gilbo from the nickel 5 yards deep. Why, I don't know. Safeties are, Michael Taff is like 20 yards off the ball back there. 15 yards off the ball right now. Let's run it. Nobody is feeling this screen at all. Will Howard's backpedaling so fast he's completely out of the picture. And they just keep chasing him. He gets it dumped off. 75 yards later, it's a touchdown. The closest defender that had a chance to touch him was 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. And I'm sure they didn't execute something right. I just don't like that. I talked about it in Drunk Sean Thoughts. I don't know why. I don't know why we do this 3-man rush thing and this big deep drop safety stuff in 2-minute defense. It, I mean, again, I'm sure it's worked for us. It's also cost us a game against Oklahoma, and you could argue that one cost us the game against Ohio State. You could argue it. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's what I believe. That was a huge momentum swing. We just tied the game up. I don't get it. 3rd and 1. Ohio State's got 3 tight ends in the game. Texas in that old school 50 front. Let me roll it and let y'all see this. Look at that. It's beautiful, man. That is some mid-90s high school defense right there in East Texas. Colin Simmons going to do an outstanding job kind of blowing up these blockers early on this play. And then Taft's going to come up and take on a block really strong. You're going to watch Benda and Hill. They're going to run this play down. This is a really, really nice play. Nice scheme, nice execution. There's Colin Simmons blowing it up. Taft comes up, blows it up. Benda's coming up to clean it up. I like it. That's good stuff on 3rd and 1. Force the 4th down. They get the punt. 2nd and 20 here. Texas going to show a 4-man look, and they're going to drop Simmons. And I don't understand. I saw Simmons get dropped into coverage a whole lot in this game. And again, I just don't get it. So I want to understand is really why I am asking the question. Why are we dropping Colin Simmons? He's going to blitz Hill from the outside linebacker. Watch Big Alfred Collins on this play. He does an outstanding job taking on a double team, and he kind of makes this play. He forced Howard to check it down. They were looking to get down the field to Smith on the deep curl. And if he had time, he might have been able to squeeze it in there for a really nice game. But watch Alfred Collins here on the right defensive tackle there. All right. Gets up the field, fights through that double team, spins off of it, forces him to make a throw. That was another thing we saw a whole lot in this game. The middle of the field just be wide open. Uh, Will Howard just knew I can dump this thing off in the middle of the field. I'm going to be good. 3rd and 10 here. We get a 4-man down lineman look. Texas going to bring Hill from the outside linebacker again, and Barron, who's kind of playing in the middle of the field, which I think is something they put in at halftime to kind of deter Will Howard and the Ohio State offensive coaches from having that dump off in the middle of the field. Putting the Thorpe Award winner in the middle of the field, pretty good. Watch the edges on this play. They get up the field really nice. They force Howard to step up right into Ant Hill. This was designed well, and it was executed well. Nice play. 1st and 10 again. We're going to have another 50 look for Texas. I love it. He's a little shaded. He's not head up, but you got 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers. It's going to be play action pass. Watch Bendo on this play. He's standing right there on the hash. He does not get influenced all that much by this play action, and then he just starts getting depth. And then watch Trey Moore. I didn't notice it during the game. Trey Moore kind of makes this play, forces Howard to throw it early and a little off balance, and Benda's able to get back, get in the lane, and intercept this one. Nice play all around right there defensively for Texas. So there's good, there's bad, and all this stuff. Final thoughts on this Cotton Bowl. I really thought this was a game of missed opportunities for Texas. Tie game late in the 2nd quarter. They missed the chance to keep it a tie game. They missed the opportunity to go into halftime tied. We saw Quinn miss some chances to deliver the football. We saw him miss on some throws on balls that were delivered. A couple drop passes earlier in this game. Couldn't score points after a turnover. 1st and goal from the 1 with a couple minutes left to tie the game. Can't punch it in. And not only that, Worst case scenario, all Texas fans are thinking there with fourth and goal to go from the 8 is if we don't get it, we got them pinned. If we can get the stop, we're going to get the ball back. We should probably get decent field position. We'll have a chance. Instead, we don't block. Ball gets stripped. Dude runs it all the way back for a touchdown. So again, we talk about moments all the time in these games, and I think there were a lot of big moments in this game, and Ohio State really stepped up and seized those moments where Texas just fell a little short. After the rewatch, I talked about it in Drunk Sean Thoughts. I thought the trenches were pretty decent for Texas, and I still think that. I think they held their own. I mean, it wasn't perfect. It was a lot of back and forth. It was certainly closer to a push than Ohio State dominated. Defensive lines really carried it. Ohio State only had 2 long drives in this game. They had their opening drive, 10 plays, 64 yards for a touchdown. They had the first drive of the fourth quarter that was 13 plays, 88 yards for a touchdown, and that was a nut buster. But outside of that, their drives were 8 for 43 and a punt, 5 for 14 and a punt, 3 for 7 yards and a punt, 3 for negative 7 yards and a punt, the screen pass touchdown, 4 for 27 in an interception, 3 for 9 in a punt, 4 for -5 in a punt, 3 for 10 in the game. Texas defense did a really good job. Offensively, Texas only had 1 3 and out, which is amazing if you've watched this offense the last couple of games. They possessed the ball for 28 minutes, so they kept that defense fresh. Really, to me, this was a game where you had 2 teams just kind of got out in the middle of the ring, kind of punching each other for 60 minutes, but nobody's really doing a whole lot of damage. Nobody's getting a consistent amount of upper hand. And again, the difference, those 2 big haymakers that Ohio State was able to land with that screen pass and that strip sack for a touchdown. Talked about it being a game of inches and Drunk Sean Thoughts. Colin Simmons tips a pass that fell just harmlessly short of Jahdae Barron being able to pick it up, run it into the end zone. If that ball stays up for a half second, Jahdae Barron intercepts that, runs it in for a touchdown. Who knows what this game looks like at that point? Point being, sometimes you get the breaks, sometimes you don't. Ohio State got breaks and they capitalized on them. I think that Ohio State offense, again, I think the defense held them in check outside of that one play. And then I think the offense was able to move the ball on a really good Ohio State defense. Something that was interesting to me rewatching, Texas defense has been on fire in the red zone. They've been on fire with these 4th down stops, and they couldn't get them done on Friday. Ohio State got in the red zone twice, scored 2 touchdowns. They converted on 4th and short at the end of the game, close to the end of the game. So kudos to those guys for rising up. I think those little things like that are the difference in the game. I also think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that this Texas offense sputtered in the red zone with this kind of the season on the line. 79% in the red zone on the season, 69% in the red zone in December and January, this Texas team is. So obviously the competition gets stiffer when you're in December and January, but when your starting point is 79%, it's not going to be pretty. Really, really dumbfounded by the play selection at the 1 yard line. I'm extremely dumbfounded by the personnel choices at the 1 yard line on 1st and goal. Again, though, keeping it balanced, this was a really gritty effort by the Longhorns. They had an opportunity to get it done. And honestly, after this game, I don't know if I'm just getting older and wiser. I wasn't all that pissed off. 20 years ago, if that happens, man, I might have tore my house down. I might have burned down the whole neighborhood. I My wife gets up, leaves the living room, goes to bed. I just kind of stayed up and just happy to have a good season. I think I think those 10 years really kicked my ass where we were just so terrible that this is like a good time. And you know what? I remember back when Vince Young was here and when Colt McCoy was here, just expecting to win every single game, and winning almost wasn't fun because I just expected to win every game. Losing was terrible. Winning wasn't fun. I don't ever want to lose that winning is fun feeling again. Like when we went to Alabama last year and beat those guys, that was fun. When we went up to Michigan this year and beat those guys, that was fun. I don't ever want to lose that. I hope you guys don't lose it either. Real quick, we got some guys obviously declaring for the draft and portaling out. The portal guys have, I believe, until Wednesday to get that done. But it's a long list, folks, and it's 4 offensive linemen. That's going to be really interesting to see how well we can replace. There's a lot of firepower leaving this Texas offense this year. You got junior left tackle Kelvin Banks, senior left guard Hayden Connor, Jaden Blues out, Gavin Holmes out, Vernon Broughton out, Andrew Makuba, NFL in it, Matthew Golden, Alfred Collins, Isaiah Bond, Bill Norton, Gunnar Helm, Mo Blackwell, Cam. The only guy out of that list that really just didn't contribute heavily, and I mean heavily this season, Mo Blackwell, and he played some. Edge Justice Finkley commits to Kansas in the portal. There's smoke that Manny Muhammad thinking about portaling out. I think a lot of that smoke is just based off of a tweet he did back in November that I don't think anybody knows what the hell it meant anyway. So we'll see. Anything's possible. I'm not discounting it. I just think the hysteria is based off of that tweet that resurfaced again. What's Quinn Ewers going to do? Regardless of what he does, I don't think he's going to be at Texas next year, but I'm interested to see what his next path will be. So a lot of movement over the next 2 days now. We will be back Thursday. We'll have Horn Takes Live. We're going to be with CJ Vogel of On Texas Football. We're going to kind of wrap up this 2024 season. Look ahead to 2025. The portal will be closed, I believe, for Texas players by Thursday night at 5:30. Everybody will have said they're going to the draft or they're transferring. So we'll have a lot of good conversation about that. Find me on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Subscribe and follow. We appreciate all the support. You can email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love them all. We're going to finish up football. We're going to start baseball. Baseball like 31 days, 32 days away from opening pitch. We're excited about that. We're lining up some guests to talk baseball. Some folks I think you guys will find interesting. So be ready for that. Be looking for that on Twitter. You guys have a good rest of your Tuesday. Get hooked.